Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to share my views and opinions on the current budget speech. This is being my 7th speech since I've joined this Parliament, and it has always bring its lots of expectations, hopes, anticipations, and deceptions for a very few. I would also like to make one comment on what the leader of the opposition said this morning in his speech, where he mentioned that this budget is a bluff 4 times. I would like to remind him, but he's not here, but I'm sure he's listening somewhere, that the biggest bluff this country has had was printing money by the former Minister of Finance and making the population believe that it was an economic boom, while in fact he sent us to an economic dark hole. Secondly, j'aurais failli à ma prestation ce matin, cet après-midi, si je ne dis pas quelque chose concernant le means test dont le Premier ministre a annoncé un freezing. La grandeur d'un homme ne réside pas dans l'infaillibilité de ses décisions, mais dans le courage de les réviser. Et il n'y a que les imbéciles qui ne changent jamais d'avis. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this budget has been prepared in very complex circumstances amid the raging war in the Middle East, which had collateral effects, particularly on the price of fuel and freight, upon which we import many of our commodities, affecting directly our industries, direct households, and our electricity production. However, one has to remember that we inherited a very drastic, disastrous economy from the previous government, and we are still trying to offset the tremendous damage that it has caused, as exemplified by the state of the economy presented to us by the Honourable Prime Minister in December 24. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I have to remind the House that managing finance of a country also means being responsible for the future generation, not forgetting we are constantly under the watch of international financial regulations such as Moody's, the IMF, the World Bank, and like those before us, who disregard the concerns of such an organization, but were more bent on printing money and distributing vouchers like Smarties, only and only for political mileage, irrespective that they were driving the state in an economic, as I said, black hole. Leur slogan se résumait à distribuer aujourd'hui et reporter la facture à demain. Our present government is about cutting one's coat according to one's cloth. Monsieur le Vice-Président, the leader of the opposition is allergic to reference being made to the previous government and management of finance, but unfortunately you'll have to hear it ad nauseum from us. We inherited the economy which was in a semi-comatose state, and the Minister of Finance, the Honourable Prime Minister himself, has had to take firm decisions in the last budget and decisive measures this time, as well knowing quite well that some may not be popular and attract likes, which so many are so bent on Facebook. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I will not make an analogy of the inheritance of the economy that we had to a patient in ICU. And I wish everybody who is sitting here, listening to me outside, everybody of you has had a friend, a relative, a neighbor who has been to intensive care unit. And I would like to tell you that this economy we rented was in ICU. A patient in an ICU in a semi-comatose state is usually intubated with many of its organs affected and needs serious attention by team of doctors. Likewise, this economy needed and is still needing attention. Debt management, depreciation of the rupee, massive frauds in various sectors, MIC, Silver Bank, CEB, State Trading Corporation, Metro Express, even la caisse vide de la fameuse CSG. Likewise, the patient in ICU has to undergo various treatments, from delicate, risky surgeries, severe medications, and this is the same that we had to do to this economy. Difficult measures, sacrifices, adjustment of the repo rate, stabilizing the rupee, introduction of the Fiscal Responsibility Act, and more but not least, pension reforms, which were unsustainable. We were told that ad nauseum by the former Deputy Prime Minister, this pension system cannot be sustained, will not sustain the future generation. Similarly, In ICU, we do at times. Unfortunately, the Honorable Prime Minister, being a doctor himself, will agree with me. When we are in ICU, we have a team of doctors led by a senior consultant. And at times, one of the doctors, senior doctor, will leave the team because he has different opinion. He does not see the treatment going well. He thinks he knows better sometimes. This is the same happened to this government. We lost a senior member of the government who was sitting here only a few hours ago, has now gone. But the treatment will continue. The patient will survive. Everybody will support. Our fiscal responsibility will be maintained. We will bring the finance back to recovery. Our aim is to reverse the trend of high inflation rate. It was 13% at one time in 2014, and should bring it down now to 5%. High depreciation rate of 46% of the rupee against the dollar. I will reduce our public sector debt, which was at some time 58.5%, and today nearing 90%, and reestablish the independence of the Bank of Mauritius. Unlike the previous government, they increased the debt ceiling from 60% to 80% just only to cook the books. I therefore urge everybody listening to me today to that analogy that I have made about an ICU patient and the state of economy. People, friends, relatives are prepared to have patience, time, and belief in the team of doctors to get the patient to get up on the bed and walk out of the doors and go back home. The same should apply to the economy we inherited. We must have time, patience, trust, belief in the team led by the Honorable Prime Minister. Positive change will come au grand dam des prophètes des malheurs and the pseudo-economists, keyboard warriors as I call them, who can refocus on negativity. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I will now say a few words on the health sector. At the outset, I welcome the budgetary decisions taken in regard to certain specific measures, particularly decreasing our dependence on sending patients abroad for all sorts of cases, when in fact we have a team of very well-able, competent surgeons and medical clinicians. And that's why I welcome in the budget 40 million rupees have been given for foreign experts to come here and help our people. And only those who really need to go abroad, where the services and the competence are lacking in Mauritius, should be sent abroad. And this also will curtail the over-enthusiasm of some organizations to send patients abroad for treatment that are well available in Mauritius. And I would welcome a rapid regulation from the Honorable Minister of Health so that we could cut down this abuse. Bone marrow transplant and advanced surgical cancer treatment are very easily, in my personal opinion, can be made in Mauritius with the help of foreign experts. And should we have them in this country, having the good logistics, the equipment, and the facilities, I'm sure will bring smile to patients who deserve it. An increase in the number of healthcare personnel is prioritized over the regular systemic reform that we had over the last 5 years when I was in opposition about bricks and mortars, cutting ribbons of every week of community health centers and area health centers. We need to know that the ratio of nurses to patients is paramount to competence. It's very important to avoid shortcomings and to improve quality of care. The provision of subspecialized nurses in health is not a new concept. It has happened before in many developed countries, and that will only bring our standard of health care to a different level. It will provide a well-added complementary service. The setting up of neurosurgical center with particular interest in stroke and aneurysm is commendable, as the incidence of chest cases on the rise. Since you have a very high prevalence of population with high-risk factors, this is in fact a smack in the face of the opposition when this neurosurgical intervention and suite was supposed to be installed in G2 Hospital, and if you look at the audit report of 2018, they stopped it only to send the money to the COVID fund, and there again they could not even pay the vaccine. We had to pay it for them. Now coming to maternity leave and menstrual leave. I can no matter be happier than anybody in the house being a gynecologist. But saying that this will discriminate from women getting jobs because of the long 6 months maternity leave and the 6 month half paid, half they take it from themselves, does not stand Because at the moment, the demographic approach of women is desiring to have a family, that is, women bearing, family bearing, is no longer between 18 and 24, 18 and 30, with family bearing cut across goes until 45. So you're not going to discriminate all women during their working life capacity. However, I would urge the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of Health, with regard to the 6 months maternity leave, we should consider that the first month of it should be prior to their delivery date. It is within that month that all women have serious complications of pregnancy, from having blood pressure, from losing their babies, from falling on the street, from breaking their waters, from having to be delivered by firemen and policemen. We heard it recently. Women should take 1 month off prior to their delivery date and take the 5 months after. Paternity leave, it is important to give it because so many times I hear mothers who come to me and say, he only come and hold the baby when it's well powdered and perfumed, nothing else. At least they would learn the trick of making babies that they knew very well, but also how to handle it. Parallel import. A long-awaited decision for medication which will definitely bring down the prices of certain medicine for the whole of an aging population. It will be equally important, Mr. Honourable Minister of Health, that the certificate of good manufacturing practice be an exclusive requirement for those who are importing it. And, Mr. Deputy Speaker, our health service personnel are nowadays the victim of violent and aggressive persons that attend our hospital. That has been a very important concern by all personnel working in the health sector across board. I request the Honourable Prime Minister to give due attention to the demands of doctors, nurses, and paramedical staff as to the provision of 24/7 of at least one police SSU unit in each hospital, which will do two things: act as a deterrent to prevent goons and violent people to act, and also to be at the dot of needing it when some ambulances have to attend hot areas, which is sometimes problematic. Incentive to join the health center. I suggest that the Ministry of Health, either through the MIH or the nursing school, to have a visible presence at each university career guidance fair, to encourage our school leavers to join the profession, and also participation in job fairs organized by the Ministry of Labour also must be considered, so that the youngsters may see the beauty of the profession, but not only the pecuniary aspect of it. Madam Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, each scientific innovation should be accompanied by an appropriate regulatory framework to prevent deficiencies, misuse, and intended consequences. I therefore welcome the proposed setting of the dedicated healthcare, innovation, and artificial intelligence unit in the context. Mr. Deputy Speaker, let me give a very brief example. I'm not going to run about the example of Goyave de Chine, but I'm going to use one very good one. ChatGPT diagnosed 40 million people with a disease that was invented as a joke. A completely fictional condition with a fake name, fake papers, fake statistics. The disease was called, listen very well, Mr. Shakil Mohammed, he likes medicine. The disease was called Bicksonimania. It rhymes with pneumonia, anemia, osteopenia, all these diseases that have a nia in it. A Swedish researcher at the University of Gothenburg, 2 years ago, invented it. And why did he do so? He wanted to know when you plant fake medical information on the internet and watch how AI absorbs it. By April 13, 2024, Microsoft Bing's Copilot, Google's Gemini, Perplexity AI, OpenAI ChatGPT was telling users that the symptoms match the fictional illness. Be very careful of you. 1 in 90,000. A precise statistic was given. A fictional disease was established as a medical fact for a disease that never exists. A masterclass in how misinformation operates. Luckily, in April 2026, just 2 months ago, a study published in the British Medical Journal of Open confirms leading AI chatbots to common health questions contain misleading or problematic information. The Bixoni mania, which never exists, is strikingly precise because it was engineered to be obviously fake. So don't take, as I said it, that what AI says is gospel truth, but we have to move with technology. We have to follow what happens in technology, and to all AI enthusiasts, because it's going to incorporate in so many ministries, we need to be followed with care and proper training by those going to use it.
I am giving you 1 more minute to conclude. Additional minute. You have already
1 more minute.
Additional minute to conclude.
Yeah. Law and order. The extra funding given to the police as drug fight must be relentless, and if needs be, all police must be properly equipped with body cams and be armed to send a powerful message to non-law-abiding citizens such as drug peddlers and barons. Drug peddlers, also known as jockeys, must be taken off the street heavy-handed. We should not handle them with gloves, otherwise they will destroy our society, they will destroy the youth of this country. Because they are the main elements in the drug business between drug traffickers and consumers. For the victims of society, the conversion of Old Flag Hospital into a rehabilitation center is conducive to rehabilitation and substitution treatment before reinsertion in the community. Mr. Deputy Speaker, le budget 2026 marque une réforme profonde de l'État-providence, protéger les plus vulnérables, préserver la classe moyenne et mettre fin aux privilèges injustifiés. Les régimes préférentiels des élus et hauts responsables sont supprimés et les pensions ainsi que les points des présidents, vice-présidents actuels et anciens seront désormais imposables. Le signal le plus fort envoyé à la nation est celui d'une classe dirigeante qui accepte d'abord de s'appliquer à elle-même les efforts qu'elle demande aux citoyens. Pour conclure, je fais mention du principe inspiré du philosophe grec Aristote qui résume ce budget. La justice ne consiste pas à donner à tous la même chose, mais à chacun ce qui lui est dit. Just one little bit. Bravo au Premier ministre et sa non-équipe pour ce budget innovatrice, courageuse en tout ce sens, que je recommande vivement à l'adoption de cette Assemblée. Merci de votre attention.
Thank you.